Starless image. Next, I'm going to highlight my first copy and hit Control.
Instagram enough, so I'll add a layer mask, invert it to turn it off, and then paint it in over the nebula itself, especially down here where we have those nice dust clouds. Again, ideally I would be doing a better star reduction than the one I just showed you, but we don't have enough time for that today, and I don't feel like fiddling around with it. And then finally,
he's probably talking about that other one. Wouldn't be surprised.
I to invert this image and hit Control I. Next, I'm going to paste it. So GB image, I'm going to hit Control C and Control V to paste it. So this is making a duplicate, and I'm going to do the same thing for my starless image. Next, I'm going to highlight my first copy and hit Control I to invert this image, and I'm going to do the same thing for both starless images. Copy and hit Control I, duplicate, and I'm going to do the same thing for my starless image. Next, I'm going to highlight my first copy and hit Control I. To invert this image, and I'm going to do the same thing for both starless images. Next, I'm going to come to my first starless image, and I'm going to change the blend mode to divide, which should be down here. Divide. And the second one, I am going to change it to multiply. I'm going to turn that off. So you can see just by taking the inverse of the RGB and dividing it by the inverse of the starless, you just have the stars. So now we need to reduce these stars. Now, in order for this to work, we're going to have to add a curve adjustment. And because this is the inverse, we're actually going to be doing an inverse stretch. So as you can see, the stars did get smaller. Now, in order for this to work, is we got to make a copy of this, and we're going to take the first one and drop it within the first inverted RGB image, and then take the second one and drop it in.
I completely lost. Just busy texting.
Down here, divide, and the second one, I am going to change it to multiply. I'm going to turn that off. So you can see just by taking the image, and I'm going to change the blend mode to divide, which should be down here. Divide, and the second one, I am going to change it to multiply. I'm going to turn that off. So you can see just by taking the inverse of the RGB and dividing it by the inverse of the starless, you just have the stars. So now we need to reduce these stars. Now, in order for this to work, we're going to have to add a curve adjustment. And because this is the inverse, we're actually going to be doing an inverse stretch. So as you can see, the stars did get smaller. Now, second one, I am going to change it to multiply. I'm going to turn that off. off. So you can see just by wireless image, and I'm going to change. Change the blend mode to divide, which should be down here. Divide. And the second one, I am going to change it to multiply. I'm going to turn that off. So you can see just by taking, turn that
When did
off.
he turn off?
So you can multiply. I'm going to turn that off.
Which one did he turn off?
Next, I'm going to come to my first starless image, and I'm going to change the blend mode to divide, which should be down here. Divide. And the second one, I am going to change it to multiply. I'm going to turn that off.
He turned the multiply off. But then I don't have any stars left.
So you can see just by taking the inverse of the RGB and dividing it by the inverse of the starless, you just have the stars. So now we need to reduce these stars.
No, I'm getting nebula in there, buddy. You're saying, but it ain't right.
Now, in order for this to work, we're going to have to add a curve adjustment. And because this is the inverse, we're actually going to be doing an inverse stretch. So
But his does not look like mine. No, because this puts some of the nebula in there. Okay, just again. Yeah, fuck it. I can just fuck it. Fuck it. Okay, this is the original. I'm going to copy paste it. This is the copy version. I don't think it matters, but whatever. So then we go to Rosette Nebula. I'm going to go to Starless. Shit, why did I open it? No, I want better image. I want the image itself. Alright.
So as you can see right here, I've got a starless image with high saturation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my RGB image and hit
Hello.
Control C and Control V to paste it. So I'll try to invert this image, and I'm going to do the same thing.
I made that picture better. I knew I could do it too, because I was like, I was just lazy. I was just like, fuck it, I'll throw the image together. But that, compared to what I showed y'all, which was this one. Fuck, it's not good because it's. No, that's not me. That's Mr. YouTube man showing me how to just reduce these goddamn stars, because it looks so much better with the stars, because the stars are so distracting. I like the stars being, because there's a starless version. Watch this shit. There's literally just a program that just takes the fucking stars out altogether, and it just did it in like 2 seconds. Maybe it's because I got a good computer too, but like watch this shit. Bam, just nebula. So now I can edit the nebula alone and then blend it back into Photoshop, and only edit just this nebula. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reduce the stars, because the stars are way too damn big. So, but I think it's a much better image anyway than the one I tried to show you before. I think it's got a better quality. It's definitely got a better quality to it, because I threw away all the bad ones. There's less haloing. The background's better. Everything. It's got more light in the middle, because it actually does have more light in the middle, like it's supposed to. Bro, no, no, this is fucking trash. Both of these are fucking trash. Like, you don't understand. Today, which I didn't put the USB on there. This has a filter on it, which is supposed to get light pollution out. But my camera is so good that I don't need a light pollution filter. And the moon wasn't out. So I then took it off, and you see how these stars are on the edges? You see how these stars on the edges, they look, you see how in the middle everything is tighter? Give or take. It's not perfect, but it's all right. But it looks it's sharp, and it's like kind of like round and all it. You see how these are kind of on the edges? It's going, because it's you're taking a camera, right, and you're magnifying the image. So what happens is, as the image, it curves, right, because the light goes in the lens, even though the lens is flat. Sometimes what happens is the lens inside the element is curved, so the light comes in like this, because it's trying to focus it in. So this light comes in curved. So what's happening is that at the edge, the light is coming in diffracted. So I have to put a certain thing to flatten it. It re-unfocuses it, makes it flatter. I had the thing. I had bought the thing before. I just didn't put it on there. So it sucks to me. Not only that, the first image, you can tell that these are not even, they're a little bit like, they're more halo-y, and they're like, like because what happened was I just stacked it and just said, fuck it, just go ahead, and that's why these are so much sharper on the left hand side than on the right hand side, because I let frames go through that were bad. And what I mean by that is, let me show you one of these. What's the dark doing in there? What the fuck? Okay, there's a light. That's probably one I threw away. But I won't bother with it. Anyway, basically what happened is there were frames where like the guiding or the cord dragged or some dumb shit, right? Wasn't balanced. I don't know. Some nuance I've got to figure out. But basically the stars themselves from the image are not perfect. As in the image itself, the first 5-minute image, one of them is there's one star, one spot, and it looks like it moved. And it's slight. It's not real big, but it's enough to where you stack it, you're not stacking directly on top of each other. You have to stack directly on top of each other to make the noise better, make the image better. So that's why this one looks kind of shitty. And that one looks somewhat better. And I've taken less light out, so it looks like noise is not as noise is worse because there's less data there. But it looks better and sharper because it's the same data. So I just have to take the perfect ones, and I did. I took the ones that were the same and I stacked them. I got the one on the left. So there's some more noise in here as you zoom in, but when you zoom out, it looks sharper. But this is the sort of shit I gotta do for every image that you see. Every image you see, I have to go through all this shit to edit it. I have to tell it how the background extract. I have to tell it to do this and that, and now I have to do the stars and shit. Anyway, let me back to the video.
Thing for both starless images. Next, I'm going to starless image. Next, I'm going to highlight my first copy and hit Control I to invert this image. And I'm going to do the same thing.
No, it's fun to me, and it's fun to some people, and I have energy for it, so it comes off as passionate and cool because I talk about it. But in reality, it takes a lot of fucking money, and and a lot of people are just like, that's neat, and then they just move on. It's like, I just fucking captured a galaxy. What the fuck? And then you get the people who are like, oh, that's fake. That's just pure Photoshop. I'm like I could show, I can put an eye, I can literally just take out the camera, put an eyepiece, and let you fucking see it. Like, you're not gonna see it like how this looks. It's gonna look like a fuzzy galaxy, like how it takes before I do the stretch. But I can literally show you the fuzzy galaxy in the eyepiece itself. Like, what do you mean this shit's fake? Fuck you.
For both starless images. Next, I'm going to come to my first starless image, and I'm going to change the blend mode to divide, which should be down here.
The first starless image, which is this one. Ah, I fucked up. That's what happened.
Divide, and
so I'm gonna move this to divide. Where's my divide? Why do I not have divide? Oh, that's the original version. Shit. I'm gonna uninvert this one. I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna invert this. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna make it.
The second one, I am going to change it to divide, which should be down.
Divide. Okay. All right.
here.
Finding that image.
Divide. And the second one, I am going to change it to multiply. Divide my first copy for both. Divide. And the second one, I am going to.
That doesn't make any sense. Something. He's not. He's saying one thing, but he's doing something different.
Multiply.
Fuck it. Let's just do multiply. But that doesn't. That still's got my. Something doesn't make sense here.
I'm going to turn that off.
I'm so confused.
So you can see just by taking the inverse of the RGB and to divide, which should be down here. Paste it. So this is making a duplicate, and I'm going to do the same thing for my starless image. Next, I'm going to highlight my first copy and hit Control I to invert this image. And I'm going to do the same thing for both starless images. Next, I'm gonna.
But he's got three. But he's got three starless
come
images.
to my first starless.
Wait a second. No,
Underneath
yeah.
is the one with stars. Again, this is just a image.
He's saying that he's got it labeled starless, but that's the one with the stars. Bro.
Image, and the image underneath is the one with stars. Again, this is just a image with high saturation, just so you can see it better on YouTube. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my RGB image. I'm going to hit Control C and Control V to paste it. So
he makes a second copy of the starless one.
This is making
the
a
nebula,
duplicate, and I'm going to do the same thing for my starless image.
He says starless, but that one actually is the stars.
Next, I'm going to highlight my first copy and hit Control I to invert this image, and I'm going to do the same.
But then he clicks that, and that doesn't have stars anymore. Bruh. So you have three copies of the nebula. Is what you're telling me, right? Garrett, are you following at all? I'm sure you're probably listening to other shit. I'm gonna make three versions. I'm gonna copy. Wait, so if we take the inverse, but he's taking the inverse of. I feel like he's taking inverse of all three. Well, okay, so okay. Let me back up. I think I tried to explain it, but I got sidetracked by other things. Let me show you the difference. I'll show you the end goal here.
Some like adjustment, first copy and paste. We want to stretch that even more after. Yeah. You just drop this in here. Yeah. So before, after.
You see that? That's what I want to get to. I think my stars are also too bloated, and I want to reduce them because I think it makes the nebula pop better. It makes it more even. Your eyes don't get caught up in all the stars. The stars are cool. I don't want to get completely rid of the nebula, but or the stars, but I want to make them less blobby and distracting. So I feel,
and one of his.
So he's clearly got one labeled RGB, but it's just a star. It's actually just a starless
viewers
version.
Ask whether or not you can do it in Photoshop. I'm actually using Affinity Photo, which is method 1, just like a knockoff of Photoshop. But I'm going to show you method 1 just because it's easier math-wise. And but to answer the question, yes, you can do it. So as you can see right here, I've got a star.
And then he says starless, quote unquote.
starless image and the image underneath.
And then he makes it pop in. I'm like, yeah, I can do that too. I've got the original. If I don't have them inverted, let me uninvert these. Like I've got one that's the stars, and I've got one that's the. So I'm fucking confused. Let me see if anyone else says anything. I really like your comments. No, everyone's like, "Oh, that's so great," which it is if it works. Except for he's in Affinity Photo, which I didn't know existed. I didn't know. I mean, I'm sure people knocked off Photoshop, but I hadn't thought about it. I just went pirated Photoshop because everyone was using Photoshop in all these videos. Okay.
Underneath is the one with stars. Again, this is just an image with high saturation, just so you can see it. Next, I'm going to PB image. I'm going to hit Control C and Control V to paste it. So this is making a duplicate, and I'm going to do the same thing for my starless image.
He makes two distinctions, and then he says he's making two of the versions. Which is what I thought I was doing. But the way mine comes out, if I do that, it means that some of my nebula then gets reduced. What's that? Oh. Yeah. Well, my problem is I have my problem is not doing the thing. My problem is with the person doing the video, right? Like drawing, you're doing drawing and you're drawing something, your brain doesn't understand, right? It's like, okay, then your hand doesn't follow. But it's like, my hand can follow. I can follow what he's doing. It is, for some reason, is different, coming out different. It's like, it's getting an IT-ish type thing. I'm doing the same thing he's doing, and it's not coming out the same. Why is that true?
Next, I'm going to...
Okay. So my... See, what happens is, he's like, oh, well, I'm just going to take away the entire nebula.
And hit Control I to invert this image.
Which means I would have to get rid of... Getting rid of that one doesn't do shit. This kind of does it, but the problem is I see the nebula in the back. And the nebula being in the back is a problem, because I'm sure I'm reducing the nebula. But you know what? Fuck it.
And I'm going to do the same thing for both starless images. Next, I'm going to come to my first starless image, and I'm going to change the blend mode to divide, which should be down.
The first starless image that's inverted should be divide. Correct.
Here, divide. And the second one, I am going to change it to multiply.
Or he's clicking on these two, but I think I did that before, and I'm not entirely sure that's true here. Let me do. Let's do divide. Technically, that kind of did it. Not. I don't like the way that looks, but that kind of did it. I feel like I got rid of some of the. I feel like I got rid of some of the noise too. Probably because it divided it. So pixel math. I didn't want to be doing pixel fucking math. There's a reason why I didn't do math in fucking school. Thanks, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Asshole. Okay. So that doesn't work. The two that he said don't work. You know what I fucking fear? Which, when I posted the picture of the sun, is what I was fucking fearing. Even though I wasn't doing, I was nowhere near an eyepiece, but something that I'm first of all, I'm definitely afraid of being blind. Like, I don't know if I can handle being blind. I probably almost kill myself being blind, but having said that,
can permanently damage your retina, causing partial or total blindness in a few seconds. Why you shouldn't look at the sun through a telescope without a solar filter.
that's not even like a particularly powerful one either.
The concentrated heat can permanently damage your retina.
It's instantly vaporizing paper,
causing partial or total blindness in a few seconds.
Like, fuck that. So when I did the solar, trust me, I looked at that filter like fucking 5 different times. Not only that, I didn't want to burn my camera either, but I was like, man, I held that filter like I was John Cena of that fucking filter. I was like, it's good. Is it good? Is it good? And then I stuck it on my telescope. But that was what it took me so long. I wanted a solar scope or a solar filter, and I was like, I get it for a camera for doing the eclipse, right? Like, I didn't have no time to really think about the eclipse, but because of mom, which is fine. But I was like, fuck, no, I don't want to be blind. And I saw people at the eclipse in San Antonio. People were like, yeah, walk up and fucking look at this eyepiece. And I'm like, hell no, nigga. And I was like, and I know about telescopes-ish and stuff. And I'm just like, fuck that, nah.
Level. If
can permanently damage.
So my buddy Luke just posted a video on YouTube showing the RGB adjustment.
Okay, I'm just gonna do the one that kind of made sense. Well, I think if you were born blind, that's different because it's like you don't know anything different, right? You're born out of the womb, you're used to like touching people, know what's going on and smell and all that. But having the sight and slowly going mad, forgetting what people looked like that just fucking sounds terrible, right? Because it's like you know how like an ex or something like you can kind of remember them, but after a while you start losing it, or you're unfortunately in my case like my dad who passed. It's like I kind of forget what he looks like sometimes or whatever. But it's like, but imagine a living person standing in front of you and you're just like you're trying to remember what the fuck they look like, and you have to touch them to remember. Like that just sounds fucking terrible.
off. So you can see just by taking the inverse of the RGB and dividing it by the inverse of the starless, you just have the stars. So now we need to
Something doesn't. I either my image is not right. Because he's saying RGB. He's not saying
reduce these stars. Now, in order for this to work, we're going to have to add a curve adjustment. And because this is the inverse, we're actually going to be doing these stars. Now, in order for this to work, we're going to have to add a curve adjustment.
okay, I can do a curve adjustment. Image adjustments, curves.
And because this is the inverse, we're actually going to be doing an inverse stretch. So as you can see, the stars did get smaller. Now, in order for this to work, is we got to make a copy of this. And we're going to take the first one and drop it within the first inverted RGB image, and then take the second one and drop it into the first starless image. So as you can see, now we have reduced stars, but the image is inverted. Now, if we turn this one,
That didn't compute. I heard him, but that didn't compute. Okay, wait.
we need to reduce these stars. On here, divide, and the second one, I am going to change it to multiply. I'm going to turn that off. So you can see just by taking the inverse of the RGB and dividing it by the inverse of the starless, you just have the stars. So now we need to reduce these stars. Now, in order for this to work, we're going to have to add a curve adjustment. And because this is the inverse, we're actually going to be doing an inverse stretch. So as you can see, the stars did get smaller. Now, in order for this to work, is we got to make a
Yeah,
copy
but
of
my
this.
nebula. The
And
problem
we're going
is
to take the first one and drop it within.
shut your dumb ass up. My problem is I can see my nebula. So yeah, but my nebula is also, which is defeats the whole purpose. The whole purpose is that the nebula is not supposed to be touched. I fucked that curve up somehow. I can't just cancel this shit. Image adjustments, curves. That doesn't do anything, so I'm doing it to the wrong one. What about the multiplier? So image adjustments, curves. Fuck it. Alright, whatever, man.
The first inverted RGB image, and then take the second one and drop it into the first starless image. we're actually going to be doing an inverse stretch. So as you can see, the stars did get smaller. Now, in order for this to work, is we got to make a copy of this.
Okay.
And we're going to take the first one and drop it
I'm going to take a copy of this. Right.
within the first inverted RGB image. And
Fuck.
we're going to take the first one and drop it within the first inverted RGB image, and then take the second one and drop it into the first.
Wait a second, but he had 6. He's got 6 layers, right?
Starless, you just have this. And because this is now, and we're going to take the first one and drop it.
Fuck. So did he copy the curves adjustment? Maybe he copied it and curved it? Did I miss a step?
Starless, you just have the stars. We're going to have to add a curve adjustment.
Ah. He clicked something different. When he clicked the curve, it made a duplicate. That's what happened. Okay. I was not supposed to curve the actual. Okay. So we're back at this image. I think I can do the same thing by doing curve. There we go. Okay, that actually looks kind of like his. So, hey, maybe following the actual video would help. Dumbass.
And because this is the inverse, we're actually going to be doing an inverse stretch. So as you can see, the stars did get smaller. Now, in order for this to work, is we got to make a copy of this.
Correct. Bro, they're man. I am not in the exploring phase. I'm in the why is my telescope not even really my telescope wasn't doing what I expected it to do. I hadn't even played with Photoshop before this shit. Never owned Photoshop. Never even looked at Photoshop. Didn't know about levels and curves and saturations and hues and fuck all that shit. This is the follow the damn thing by, because there's like literally guy Astro Backyard. Like this dude's been doing this since like 8 years, and it's been on YouTube ever since. Like I listen to that guy or this guy. It's like pixel math, dividing shit by pixels by inverting it. What the fuck? Didn't even know it existed before this video. And I found out this video like literally right now, like an hour ago. So no, fuck that. I'm doing exactly what he says.
And we're going to take the first one and drop it within the first inverted RGB image, and then take the second one and drop it into the first starlight image, and then take the second one and drop it into the first starless image. So as you can see, now we have reduced stars, but the image is inverted. Now, if we turn this one on, which is the other inverse starless that hasn't had any curve adjustments, turn that on, you see that we have an inversed image here. So all we're going to do is go down to this and then just create an inverted layer on top. And that
well, you told me hit Control I, bro. So how do I create an inverse? How do I create a new layer in it?
as you can see, top down to inversed image here. So all we're going to do is go down.
Fuck. Fuck, and I just undid something I wasn't probably supposed to. Why do I have... And I click something stupid. Now I don't know what I did. How do you redo on fucking... God, fuck shit. How to redo on Photoshop. Shift Control Z. Control Shift Z. Okay. That I remember it looking like. And I lost all my... I don't know. I don't know what I did. Fantastic. I had layers. I don't know where the layers went. All my fucking layers just disappeared. That looks like it's stretching the curve. I click one button, I lost everything. Okay.
Down to
Well, I clearly didn't lose the damn thing, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't fucking tell you. I have no idea what the fuck I did. Control Z just undoes everything I did, but it somehow keeps everything. It still does it, but it doesn't. Layer visibility. Alright. Alright, man.
this and then just create an inverted layer on top. And as you can see, we have smaller stars. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight these. What I'm going to do is turn this one on, which is the other inverse starless that hasn't had any curve adjustments. Turn that on. You see that we have an inverse image here. So all we're going to do is go down to this and then just create an inverted layer on top. And as you can see, we have, create an inverted layer on top. And as you can see, down to this and then just create an inverted layer on top to image here.
Okay, so he clicked this. The last time I clicked this, it did the exact same goddamn thing. You're pissing me off, buddy.
So all we're going to do is go down to this and
Okay. Well, you apparently had made my image just fucking really dark looking, and it looks like they're dark stars as opposed to fucking making him less like look less. Fantastic. Thanks, buddy. Fuck. Well, somehow I've also apparently gotten 3. Does that look like they're reduced? Can't tell. I don't think so. That definitely has reduced it. The problem is it also multiply. That just definitely looks like it brightened it some, because I think it's multiplying on itself. Is that this how bright the fuck? No, I don't want to save any of this dumbass changes.
Finally, we'll blur this with filter. Remembering this free, easy way from a raw filter. It takes a long time. Filter. We'll choose our highlights, move the sliders around, like so. That looks pretty good there. I'll hit OK. And actually, now that I'm remembering this, I didn't really like the star reduction in the previous video. It just looked kind of weird, so hopefully this one will turn out a little bit better.
Alright, let me try this again. I tried this earlier, but... I was supposed to be doing something for work, too. It's really the funny thing, because I was doing remote shit, and I just fucking forgot about it, man. I was trying to listen to it just to see what those stuffs might be. You know what? I think it did do something to that image. I don't know how I would have replicated now, but... maybe it did reduce the star some. Oh well. Just have to try this way. Color range. Highlights. Go to modify feather 3 pixels, 4 pixels. Let's try 3 pixels. That didn't do shit. Okay, and then I'm going to go to other, minimum. My problem is it doesn't reduce the halo. Back the fuck up. So when I did this earlier, it was like, just I didn't like the fact that the halo is still stuck around. God damn it. Let me zoom. Let me zoom. Zoom. Oh wait, if I create a mask. Let me zoom out of my image. Fuck off. Ain't. That's. What do you think? Fucking stupid. No, stop asking. I feel like that's kind of better, right? It's a lot more neutral. Blends more together. The stars aren't as bright. I don't know how to get off this goddamn selection though.
If you've seen my full version of this image over on
Yeah, well, I can show you the difference if I can get the fucking dumbass shit out of the way.
Instagram, then you'll remember that I had like no stars in the photo.
Stupid
That's because I
little-
used something called StarNet++, which is a free little application you can get for Windows users.
Well, well, that's the point. The point is that the stars aren't as. I like the stars being there. People put these colors like these starless. I like stars. I just.
And StarNet++ is pretty darn cool if you can get it to work. In my case, we're not going to do that today though, because that would take at least 30 minutes to run through. There's our star reduction.
Okay, but how did you get this stupid little things?
Today though, because that would take at least 30 minutes to work. In my case, we're not going to do that today though, because that would take at least 30.
He clicked on it. But he also copied it. Okay, let's do this then. So let's go to, so I went to color range, correct. I'm gonna go to grow. Then I went to other, minimum. Okay, what did he do? Why can I not get these things to get off my fucking screen?
30 minutes to run through. Cool, if you can get it to work. In my case, we're not going to do that today though, because that would take at least 30 minutes to run through.
He didn't say how he got rid of
we're
it.
not going to do that today though, because that would take at least 30 minutes.
I don't fucking know, man. God, I wish people would tell you how to fucking do shit sometimes. I like that guy. Wow, real helpful, guys. Demon? Oh my god, that looks like a face. Is that fucking, that's fucking crazy, ain't it? I hit Q. I don't even know what Q does. Just fucking, bro, I can't unsee a face now. What in the fuck? Did it just ruin this image for me? I was like, oh, that's a beautiful image, and now it looks like a fucking skull to me. That's fucking creepy. I don't think I can unsee a skull. I think I'm fucked. Oh no, Photoshop, why? Why you do this to me? There's an eye, a nose. Here's his jawline. There's another eye socket. He's got a break here and a break here. And he's got like some ghostly bits back here. Oh, man. Fuck me. We have the ability to go to space. I mean, we already got random ass celebrities like Dude Perfect going to space. I mean, we're getting there. Well, especially with the way Elon works, we'll get there. I'm pretty certain. Marching ants. Can't believe that's a real Control D. That worked. Yeah, I don't know if I can. I think this will tell. This will tell me if I can or not. God damn it, nope. That's 4. That's after. I think the after is better, right? That's kind of what I've been after this entire time. I just wish I could get rid of these halos. I think it would look even better if these halos were gone. I don't know how to do that. That's what the other guy was supposed to be showing me, but... What do you think? That's on. That's no edit. That's the reduction in the stars.
It's to run through. There's our star reduction. Doesn't look terrible. Some of those faint dust. I'm going to try and do a little bit of high pass filter. This should bring out some of those faint dust clouds. We'll just
High pass filter. Really? Oh shit. Did you see it or not? Let me do you want me to redo it? Re-show you?
leave it at the default.
Yeah,
Looks
it
fine.
shows me those faint.
That wasn't necessarily the default
I
if
don't
you
know
try
how
to do it
it's
on your
gonna show
own.
me
It's
that
just what I happen to
faint.
have plugged in from earlier. And you can see that really emphasizes those dust clouds a lot better. But I don't want it to apply to the entire sky, so I'll add a layer mask, invert it to turn it off. I don't want it to apply to
Bro, right now I don't give a fuck about you and your work. So comment then. Stop wasting this time. Tell me which one's better. I need fucking. Was it better with or without the reduction? That's the original. And now I can't get the goddamn thing to come back. There. That's the blended. Or not the blended. I keep saying blended. That's the reduction.
to the entire sky, so I'll add a layer mask.
Fucking comment. Oh, you can't see it past. Oh, god damn it. Really? Fucking A. Alright. Original. Reduction. No, I don't want what makes more sense. I want you to tell me you think that one is better. Okay. Here. I got this. I got this. You save as better. Well, that's the original image. That's well, I kind of like the shot. I agree with you that more stars are better, but the problem is they're so. I don't know if it's. I don't know if the nebula is just so dark. Then I just have to edit the nebula. It just show outshines the nebula. That I'm just like. Eh. But I want you to be honest. Don't tell me it makes sense or whatever. I want you tell me, because I mean there are people who take images of nebula and then they make them green or blue or different colors. And I'm like, that's actually kind of cool. And other people are like, yeah, that's terrible. And I'm just like, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool sometimes. Not all the time. I think its natural beauty is good too sometimes. But like, how many times can you all these same people image the exact same goddamn thing, right? Like change the color. Yeah, okay, fine, no big deal. And that's what I'm trying to figure out is like, what do people like? I don't know. Here, I'll do this. Save as star reduction. And I compose this to Segura too, I guess, in this way. But I have to do it as a JPEG. Save. So, are you saying it could be possible that I could just do the... I could only reduce the brighter ones, like the ones in the nebula. And then the background would be... But then it would be like the way that the image looks and it's warped. It's like down there and it would look... Even with the star reduction, I don't love the halos. That's my problem. I think I would like the reduction even better if the halos were gone. Because the reduction doesn't get rid of the halos, is my problem. But I'm gonna send it to you on Facebook. That way you can have a high resolution. I know my stream. I guess you can't get the stream to go better than good 360p back to AOL days, but. Okay, this is save as JPEG star reduction. So I'm going to save it. Non star reduction. Okay. Now what we'll see is if got too many of these open. I don't need these many open. Why is it giving me this one? Why is it opening this one? I'm so fucking confused. This is really starting to piss me off. There we go. Alright, let me move this up. And lights. No. It's not star reduction. Wow, they look so dark on Facebook. Either that or is it just my screen? It's my screen. That screen is just really dark. Wow. The difference on my screen is ridiculous. Between my two screens, the difference between my two screens is ridiculous. Like this looks bright, nice. Now I go back to my screen. It's like it's kind of dark. Also, it seems like the star reduction has darkened it somehow. Or did I not do something to this? Let me run something just in case I'm... The fuck can I not? Well, there's less light because it literally gets rid of the light to reduce them. I get that, but it's just like even the nebula seem kind of just a little bit darker. So image adjustment curve, brighten it up a little bit. I think that's the other problem with it just being star reduced, or just with the image in general. Was like it's just dark.
Invert it to turn it off,
which could
and
be
then
true.
paint it in over the nebula itself. That's just what I happen to have plugged in from
what Mr.
That wasn't
Peter has to say
necessarily the
about this.
default if you try to do it on your own. It's just what I happen to have plugged in from earlier. Try and do a little bit of a high pass filter. This should bring out some of the
He says supposedly this will bring out, but I sent the 2 pictures to you on Facebook as well, by the way, so you can look at the images on your phone, hopefully, or just have the images without having to wait for the stream to get better.
those faint dust clouds. We'll just leave it at the default. Looks fine. That wasn't necessarily the default if you try to do it on your own. It's just what that wasn't necessarily the default.
What did he click? Overlay. Overlay. I swear that just brightened the stars again. I did a star reduction and it just decided to high pass it and make it fucking. It just literally just put it back again. Anything, it made the other stars fucking.
If you try to do it on your own, it's just what I haven't.
Nah,
have
Pete, I
plugged
ain't
in
about
from
this
earlier.
life.
And you can see that really emphasizes.
I thought you
those
said you
dust
liked the
clouds.
stars. What the fuck?
Emphasizes default if you try to do it on your own. It's just what I happen to have. Should bring out some of those faint dust.
Fuck.
Clouds. We'll just leave it at the default.
Yeah,
This
I got it.
should bring out.
What yellow? You mean this yellow orange? That's the nebula itself. That is, it's actually supposed to be red. It's actually hydrogen alpha gas. So in reality, what it's supposed to look like is this. So there's 2 versions. There's a narrowband version, and this is the natural, what it's supposed to look like. Now, earlier tonight, I've taken it with this red version. Not the red version, but the ones I've taken will look more like this. This is what it's supposed to look like. But what has happened was when I took this particular set of pictures, I had a filter, what's this called? CLS, clear city light. it's like city light sodium reducer. Basically, it's supposed to be a light pollution filter. But the camera doesn't need it because it's so good compared to my DSLR that it doesn't need that. So what has happened is, to combat the fact that there's light pollution, the filter changes the color and gets rid of a lot of the red. Well, hydrogen alpha gas is all red. Comes off as red. So it comes off as more of a orange because the blue has overridden it, basically. Gets rid of red and makes it a lot more blue. Which, the blue is good for star color. But in this one, the star color didn't come out very well. But an earlier ones tonight I took the filter out and noticed that it was good. So we'll see. I'm just editing this because I have the light frames. With my ASI Air, which right now it's turned off anyway, I basically just don't have those frames right now. So I can't even show you or look at it. Okay. Back to this video. Well, yeah, of course, Garrett. I mean, one of the major discoveries of stars in general and astrophysics is that if you take an element, right, and you shoot the light coming off of a star through a prism, you get black lines. So if you take a spectrometer image of the star, right? So if you look at Sol and you just take its light, it will tell you what element it is because you'll have all these different colors. You'll have blue, purple, and there'll be black lines where the element is basically that color. And it's the same reason why you get green nebula or green solar from auroras here, because auroras on Jupiter are like they're not fucking green. Let's put it that way. I can't remember what color they are, but it's a certain element hitting our atmosphere. So you're gonna get different aurora colors depending on how strong the solar wind is and what it may be picking up on the way in. But most of the time it's green just because it's hydrogen hitting our hydrogen or helium hitting our atmosphere. Then it just turns out green that way. But it can hit Mars and be completely different because there is no atmosphere, and there are no auroras on Mars. But like, you have wind and magnetospheres on other planets. So anyway. Why does this not look like it's reduced? Am I crazy? That's what I thought. I was like, but I'm undoing it and it's not. That's definitely the reduced version.
Fine. That wasn't necessarily the default if you try to do it on your own. It's just what I happen to have. Should bring out some of those faint dust clouds. We'll just leave it at the default. Looks fine. That wasn't necessarily the default if you try to do it on your own.
don't know if it did anything with the actual nebula. Seems to have just done it with the stars.
It's just what I happen to have. I've plugged in from earlier. Those faint dust clouds, we'll just leave it at the default. Looks fine. That wasn't necessarily the default if you try to do it on your own. It's just what I happen to have plugged in from earlier. And you can see that really emphasizes those dust clouds a lot better. But I don't want it to apply to the entire sky, so I'll add a layer mask. Invert it to turn it off.
Add a layer mask, which he has covered up by a goddamn timer. Add a
And then
layer
paint it in
mask.
over the nebula. Invert it to turn it off. And then paint it in over the nebula.
Invert it to turn it off. Okay, I managed
Itself.
to follow that somehow.
And then
Did you get my
so I'll add a
answer,
layer mask.
Darren, or
Invert
was
it
the
to turn
screen
it off.
fucked up?
And then paint it in over the nebula itself. Especially down here where we have those nice dust clouds. Again, ideally I would be doing a better star reduction than the one I just showed you, but we don't have enough time for that. Today, invert it to turn it off, and then paint it in over the. I don't want it to apply to the entire sky, so I'll add a layer mask, invert it to turn it off, and then paint it in over the nebula itself.
Of notifications of what? What do I have under notifications of? Huh? What? Oh, YouTube? People going online and stuff. I just never click it. Bunch of alerts that I've just never clicked on. Of, oh, they just posted a video. It's like, yeah, whatever, buddy. I usually catch them as they get posted, so it's like I don't really need to be notified right this second. I just click the bell button because that's what they tell me to do.
Especially down here.
If you're talking about his image and why it's yellow, it's because he shot it in narrowband. Narrowband changes. Narrowband picks up on oxygen 3, whereas I'd be shooting it as more of a natural if it wasn't fucking orange. So his is more of a false color. Mine would be a more of a true color if I had the right filter or the right images. But I'm just practicing basically for when I get when I finally get all the right shit done and I know how to
Here where we have
process
the
it.
invert it to turn it off, and then paint it in over the nebula itself.
paint it in. Where did he click? Then he's got it on 259.
Especially down here where we have this nice.
Just type it like a dumbass. Okay. I don't think this is literally doing anything. I don't know what this is supposed to be doing.
Dust clouds. Again, ideally I would be doing a better
I know what
star reduction than the one I
supposedly he
showed you,
thinks
but
it's
we don't
supposed
have
to be
enough time.
doing, but no.
Gaussian blur. Fill this in. I can hold on. Good enough. So there we go. We have a nice little high pass to bring out some of those fainter details. I'm still not a big fan of that star reduction. That you we still have a minute or two left.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play with the saturation, hue, and shit. And the vibrance. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Well, that'll work. Okay. Let's just keep an open mind. I don't want to create a I still not sure what that's supposed to do. I'm not even sure I'm doing it right. Whatever. Play with some. I'm not in love with the start reduction because of the halos when you zoom in. Gay. Oh well. This ain't supposed to be the final image anyway. swear it was that high pass bullshit. It didn't look like that before that. Maybe it did. Yeah, I don't like that star reduction. I think it would be good if it got rid of the halos, but it didn't. Oh, just these little rings. Just don't like that. Kind of like it with the red, honestly. I knew I liked it with the red, but I mean, it's yeah, there's not much green in it. Got rid of that. Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be a red thing anyway, so. That's what I mean by changing the color. Like, some people are like, oh, it's not that color. You should change it. It's like, bro, I like it. I like it. Like, hmm. fuck? Interesting. Whoa, that kind of almost flattened it. Interesting. Well. I don't think I like the star reduction as much as I used to. But oh well, too bad. I'm gonna try something. You see this field flattening effect? Like, I missed that. I have something on my telescope now for that. It's supposed to take away that effect of. But I've kind of zoomed it out enough to flatten it, where it doesn't look so ovally. Not too bad if I don't say so myself. Not great, but whatever. It's better than what I sent to y'all the first time. Undo. Whoa, interesting. Now that's fucking trippy. my bedtime. Nice. Fuck. I sent the final. I think I'm done editing for that. Probably gonna go to bed. Actually, I need to finish something for work. I need to do something with someone's profile on their computers. I need to make instructions for some dumbass and make a